Okay, Jimmy, up next is Tim Gifford from Harrisburg, Nebraska, and his dog Tip. Tim and Tip have had a real successful go here so far in the prelims. They come into the horseback final in first place with, let's see, 325 points of a cumulative score through the preliminaries. So Tim is electing to send Tip on a right-hand outrun up the field.
Well, you know, the point total for Tim and Tip is no surprise. Tim has been running this dog for several years at dog trials all over the United States, particularly western part of the United States, and been successful just everywhere he goes. And so to find out that this person, this handler, and this dog team has a high total possible score is no surprise. Tim is in good position to be the national champion in the horseback class.
He is. He's got a 50-point lead coming in on Robin Newfer and Wiz, who we've already seen have a full point run. So he's got a little bit of cushion there, but he's going to have to get some things done. And he doesn't have to have as good a run as Robin, but he's going to have to score points around the course and can't drop too many.
Well, so far it's pretty typical. The cattle are, as you mentioned earlier, wanting to stay on that side of the hill, but it's not a bad idea because on the left side of the handler is the first obstacle to be made, and that's the timeline.
Right, and I think those cattle go a little more carefully along the side of that hill and don't get the speed that they do once you get them down off of that irrigation berm and out on the flat. So here Tip flanks around quickly and to keep those cattle off of that exhaust gate. And I imagine we'll see Tim right into the picture here and help Tip push those cattle back up the hill. You probably recognize Tim's partner in this. Blondie, the Palomino quarter horse there, was also ridden by Murray Kettler and other competitors. The Blondie belongs to Juan Reyes, who's also the cattle provider. So everything that you're seeing in front of you now, other than Tim and Tip, belong to Juan. And so we'll see how this works out for Tim. Blondie's had quite a few different riders on her this week with this horseback final. She's been borrowed by a few people that are coming from farther away and didn't want to haul a horse with them, but wanted to compete in the horseback finals.
Now, Tim and Tip were also in the open class, so this makes double runs for Tip this week.
That's right, and Tip has had a lot to do. He hasn't had many days off, you know, but he's a seasoned dog, and I wouldn't expect that the stress of it would get to him too much. Tim also is electing to stay on the bottom side and trust Tip to go up and kind of gently push those cattle down to him. Now we see Tim, much like Paige did earlier, ride the horse up to the top side of the weave and have the dog fetch those cattle around him and trust Tip to hold him up on that hill. He's going to come in behind with Blondie and give a little push there.
Well, you know, you have to evaluate how the cattle are going to react to your dog. Not every dog's the same, and not every set of cattle is the same. And I think when those cattle came hard over that timeline, and Tip was able to cover those cattle, cover the heads, and stop those cattle, I think right there Tim knew that he could do this. He could ride high on the hill and trust that when he sent Tip around, the cattle were going to respect the dog.
Absolutely.
And I think that's something that a good handler does is evaluate the relationship between the dog and the stock. And even though you may have a game plan going out there, I'm going to set here when we go to this one, and I'm going to set here, go to that one. If you don't get that the relationship you were anticipating, you have to make adjustments.
That's right. The cattle sometimes change your plan.
Exactly. Yeah. If they're not in on the planning meeting, then
exactly. And more times than not, they aren't. I see Tim here is electing to have Tip push these cattle a little farther back west along the side of that hill to give him a little more room to work after they cross that berm. But it looks like it to no avail. Here they go down the hill, and Tip circled plenty wide, probably too wide to make a nice tight turn into those panels. But he's going to pick them up and turn them and head them back up the hill.
Well, and that ditch just makes a dog late, and it's not the dog's fault.
Yeah.
Just negotiating the ditch, losing sight of the cattle is going to make the dog hesitate. And I think a lot of the flanks have been late, but to no fault to the handler or the dog.
Sure, and I think, you know, these dogs can feel when cattle are getting away and running away, especially a seasoned, a little bit older dog like Tip knows that if he goes wide and keeps things in front of him, he's always going to be able to get them turned.
Exactly.
And where a younger dog is probably just going to blow in there a little tighter and turn things a little sharper. But that's what comes with a little bit of wisdom and age that Tip has, of get out there wider and turn things. I think it's also something you see in dogs that work a fair number of commercial cattle, like Tim does with a cow-calf operation and running yearling cattle there in the panhandle of Nebraska. These dogs learn how to work cattle and how to save themselves and what they have to do to cover things, and build those habits in those commercial operations. And sometimes it isn't exactly what you'd want to see on a trial field as far as tight turns and everything, but it's what the dogs learn when they handle big bunches of cattle.
Well, it looks like he got them settled and is going to get full points here on this box.
He got right through there, and kind of looks like he's going to head back up the hill to put things back through that set of freestanding panels up by that irrigation ditch.
Now, he came in with a 50-point lead. Robin's got a full score, so he needs to be within 50 points of Robin.
That's right. That's right. He's got to be within 45 points
to
shy to win her. So we've got a potential 335 points on this course, and so as long as he scores a 290, he should be able to come away with the win. He's looking like he's in good place here. He had a little bit of trouble with Blondie. He asked her to back up, and that Palomino horse didn't really want to do that for him. Kind of shook her head a little bit and said, you know, there's been a lot of people on me, and I'm not sure I really want to back up and do what you ask. Hopefully things hold together for him, because this next phase of the work of this horseshoe sort is the one where the horse and rider connection and that solid work being really quiet but precise is the most important.
Now, this obstacle's worth 50 points. Is that right? 10 points per hit? No, it's worth more than that.
It's worth 100 points, 100 I believe, points. Because you have
points for going in
points
the pen.
For entering in the pen. Your first stage is when they enter the pen area of that horseshoe sort, basically the top of that curve of that horseshoe, or the bottom of that J, and then you get 10 points per head for sorting them in the right pattern out the side and the exit of that chute along the fence.
So this is kind of the make or break obstacle for his.
It is. You know, he's got to make 55 points out of this in order to win, and so we'll see what Tim and Blondie and Tip can get done here. Okay, he's got his load finished, and that went really cleanly. Having a little trouble here with Blondie not really wanting to back up exactly where Tim wants her to and provide that hole for that first calf to get out. Tip and the cattle are being really patient for him.
All five in the pen now is what he's working on right now. One at a time to come out of there.
I know that's not the position Tim would prefer to be in, but you take what you can get sometimes.
Yeah, Blondie just isn't wanting to back into that alley for some reason. You know, when you're on a horse that isn't yours, oh, there that first calf went out the exit, and in order to complete this pattern properly for full points, for any points, you have to have your first heifer go out the side exit. That's right. And so now to start this over, Tim is going to have to, Tim's going to have to, I believe, daylight these cattle and put all 5 back through the entrance.
But now he's already earned his pen points once.
He has earned his pen points. He can't lose those. But that calf cannot re-enter through that side exit. That heifer would really like to go to that exhaust. She's already been in that pen once. And there wasn't anything that was all that interesting there to her. You know, it's pretty much true. If the first time you get a cow in a pen, or you get them to look at the pen, that's the easiest time. Every subsequent time you have livestock look at somewhere that they've already been and they know there's no way out of, the less and less interested they are at it. So.
Yep, unfortunately you get one shot. Hopefully that's not the case here, but this heifer's kind of bringing up that possibility.
That's right, and you know, Tim was in a good position coming into this obstacle. The horse gave him a little bit of trouble. They weren't quite on the same page. Now he's conferring with the judge on what exactly he needs to do to get this fixed so that he can score more points and stay in hunt for a national championship here.
It's a shame that this would happen after he's had 2 good preliminary runs.
Yeah, he was the top competitor coming in. Here Tip is going under the gate. It's a warm day out there, and that's the thing, is Tim's the last competitor to run since he came in first, but it's warmer out there. Tip's covered a lot of country in the heat and has decided, you kind of saw him thinking, you know, boss, maybe I could go down for a little bit of a drink.
Right.
But then he came right back. So Tim and Blondie are going to try this sort again. Unfortunately, he's not getting a lot more cooperation out of Blondie. And there they made the first one out the side.
Blondie's not comfortable in there.
No, she's not. One out the end. And there Tim times out. Just too much time burned in that horseshoe sort and trying to recover from that first initial miss sort.
What a tough break.
Was a tough break for Tim.
We're with Tim Gifford of Harrisburg, Nebraska, and his good dog Tip. Now, Tim, you just finished your run in the finals of at the National Cattledog Finals in the horseback division. How did your run go for you today?
It went real smooth. He worked really nice. The horse worked nice. We flowed off real good all the way until we got to the sort, and then the handler had a meltdown, but we got her on it all right.
The horseback division obviously has a significant difference from the dog trials that we see every day, where the handler's on the ground. Is your strategy different moving the cattle around the field than it would be if you were on foot?
Yeah, I think it's a little different, where you got a little partnership and you move more with the horse, but I still use both directions. I fetch and I drive still with the dog, and use the flanks and move the cattle with the dog, and block with the horse, or switch it up if I need to.
Do you feel like there's one preference over another as far as what position you put the horse in, or do you just adjust to the situation the cattle present you?
I think I adjust to the situation that I'm in, where the dog is and where the cattle are, and I just wing it and make it work.
Now, Tim, this is new. As I mentioned, you're vice president of the National Cattledog Association, and the horseback competition is, as far as I know, a new thing anywhere. This is the first time it's been done on a national scale, where people are dragging horses in from all over the United States to compete head to head. We've gone through 2 go-rounds and now a finals, very successful finals, I think. What was your opinion on it?
Oh, I think this horseback thing is just going to take off and grow and go. I think it's a partnership. It's what we use on the ranch. Good horse, good cowboy, and a good dog. I don't think you can beat that. And I think this is the tip of the iceberg. I think it's just got worlds of places to go. People are excited about it. People are traveling a lot of miles to come and see it. I think it's a good thing.
And what about the cattle? What was our source of cattle? Is this typical of what a rancher might be dealing with?
Yeah, I think these cattle are just straight off the ranch, Angus cattle that you handle every day. They'll give you some trouble, they won't. The more you handle them, the better they get.
These were some open Angus heifers. What were the approximate weights on these cattle?
Well, I'd say they weigh probably 850 pounds. I can't guess a chicken within 5 pounds, or you know that.
I understand. So these are pretty typical replacement type heifers, maybe ready to AI or put a bull with, and so it's a kind of a typical activity to be moving them around to a pasture or sorting off the low end to send to town or something.
Sure. I think what we do out here, we try to simulate what we do on the ranch, and they'll AI these heifers here in a month, I think. Handle them through the chutes and sorts and stuff like that we simulated out here today. It gathers. Yeah, I think this is a typical ranch situation.
Great. Well, Tim, I know you came into the finals in very good position, and you had a little trouble, but you had scored a lot of points before you got to that point, so I hope the math comes out in your favor. Tim, thanks for you and Tip stopping by.
Thank you, Jimmy.